Hello there guys, ChocIce Fox and I'm joined with my neighbour Abby. Say hi Abby.
Hello everyone.
Hello Joshua, thanks for joining the stream. The camera's not on yet, but I'm going to turn it on right now. Bit of a weird looking setup, but we are going to do Amorous, and basically what I'm going to do is get a second opinion for the choices and everything. So I've got my other monitor, well, PC beside me for the chat and the stream quality and everything, so I know if it's good quality or anything. I haven't seen much time to over this. There's quite a bit, but never mind. So let's get on with this, shall we? So basically, Abby, the whole point of this game is multi-choice questions, trying to date some of these characters. Like some of these you can't interact with, but some of them you can. So this one, we are doing a full date playthrough with Seth or Seth. How would you pronounce it? S-E-T-H. Is it Seth or Seth?
Seth.
Seth.
Yeah.
This one's Seth, I do believe. So, despite him being alone at the bar of one of the most active nightclubs I've seen in recent memory, my eye was drawn to the slender feline lean over his book. He would sit there for a long moment and then, without cue, he would yeah, am I reading that out? I'm not good. He would scribble frankly in the leather-bound journal spread out before him. Now and then, he would lift his glass from the bar and lean back, pausing to take a drink as if someone was expecting him to. This adorable ruse was undermined, however, as each sip was followed by a grimace of barely contained disgust. So, what do you want to do? Ask about the drink, ask about the scribbles, or introduce myself? What would you do? If you saw this person at the bar, what would you do?
Introduce.
Is that what you want to go with?
Yeah, or ask about drink.
We've got our drinks, alright, we've got to ask about the drink.
Yeah.
I strolled over to the bar as he turned back to his notebook, stopping at the edge before politely coughing to grab his attention. He looked up, eyes blinking open wide and his mouth slightly agape. Clearly he expected to be a little more invisible than he really was. Also, thank you, Choc. This morning I set up petrol production in my Factorio. Oh, nice one, Josh. You're getting good at Factorio then. Don't get better than me, I tell you that, otherwise that's not going to be fair. I'm sorry to interrupt, but do you mind if I ask what you're drinking? Oh, it's a 12-year-old Scotch. I figure I'd try something a little more direct than the usual mixed drinks you get at a nightclub. It's very smooth but complex. Do you normally drink glasses of Scotch by yourself in crowded nightclubs? Well, I could just sit at the bar without something in my hand, and there's no better place in town to people watch. The better question would be, what brought you over here to ask what I was drinking? What Abby told me. I think you should read out what Seth is saying. Go on. Because you look like you're drinking Chupettine every time you took a sip. As I sailed into the stall next to him, his cheeks flashed red as he glanced between me and his drink.
I don't really drink much.
I assumed as much, though that does still beg the question as why you're in the bar, particularly if you don't drink. Oh, it's ChocIce, by the way. Sorry, I know the question first isn't exactly the best manners. You just seem a little out of your element.
Seth, I'm Seth.
Oh, hello, Seth.
Hello. Oh my god. I'll admit it's an escape, but it's also to help me work through the creative process. Many famous authors immerse themselves in the popular culture of their day to draw new experiences and observe people in new environments.
I suppose that's true. I thought most of them indulged in part because it was their particular interest more than strict research. You don't strike me as the type to write romance or erotic, though.
Why would you think that? I mean, I don't, but why would you assume that is the only motivation for me to be at this club?
Oh, now I got a lot of reading and you was running like yours. Mostly because even the bouncers are wearing half the clothes you are, and because I came here with my brother Kobe, specifically because this is his favourite place to meet guys for a fling. You have to admit, your choice of Amorous suggests something more than just curiosity about popular culture. But now he was blushing what's that word? Furiously?
Yeah.
Wow, I've got my English teacher with me. The spots of red visible beneath his snowy white cheekbone, despite his attempt at appearing aloof. Something spoke about his relative discomfort in being here. Bitch, I'm not all reading. I'm not here to judge, it's just, well, interesting. I get enough stories from Kobe to get an idea of how this place tends to function, and you appear to be actively avoiding that function.
Well, I'm honing my craft, trying to push myself outside of my comfort zone, so I have to breathe a experience to write from. It's the sort of thing authors do.
So you're a writer, what experience are you getting? You sure you're not just lonely? Well, Seth is talking about writing books. Bit of an undercoated, but lonely.
Yeah.
So I say a writer.
Yeah, go for it.
So you're a writer. So you're a writer. Maybe you've written something I've heard of before. What do you have out there?
Well, I'm not published per se. I'm building a body of work before I approach anyone. Wouldn't want to come off as such sort of dilettante.
I don't know. We're both drunk. So you just like the title. Do you have something I can read? I would go something like, if Seth's not published, he's probably got loads of books that have not published like me.
Yeah.
Because I've got about 7 books on that computer that I've not published yet. So if you guys want me to publish my books on some sort of websites, let me know and I'll see what I can do. So I'm going to say you've got something I could read. I suppose that makes sense. Others rarely have a single work to their name. Do you have something I could read? He sat upright, the slouch that had been so prevalent before suddenly vanishing. His ears perked up as well before he glanced to the side and back at me. It took a long moment before he responded.
I suppose you could look over a couple of my things. It's all still rough drafts though. I haven't had it run by an editor, so don't expect too much.
Yeah, if I publish my books, people just say, that's not how you spell your. Well, I'm dyslexic, okay?
Yeah.
Just allow it. Hastily, he dug in the shoulder bag sitting beside him before producing another composition notebook that he sat down in front of me. That's one of those massive ones.
It's mostly snippet, and some poetry. I know it's
Indulgent.
indulgent, play with rhymes, but you have to find your muse when it comes.
And by the way, guys, I'm actually ill doing this, so bear with me. He watched intently as I skimmed over his work. It was mostly fluff, fragments of ideas, and occasional clever rhyme. Each piece seemed short, as if it were cut off before completion. He seems to have trouble sticking to an idea, and maybe that's why he was looking for inspiration.
Well, what did you think? I mean, I can't expect much from what I provided, but input is always appreciated.
Be honest, be kind, be blunt. What would you want if I read through your stuff that you wrote up in drafts?
Yeah.
What would you want me to do? Be honest, be kind, or just be blunt about it?
Be kind.
But be kind, that's almost like a lie though, isn't it?
Yeah, it's true.
So would you rather get lied to rather than have someone tell you the truth so you can work on your...
Go for be blunt.
Let's do a safe, just to be safe. Let's go with slot 8 safe, just to be safe. Let's go be blunt. All I see is fragments of ideas and very little in the way of actual writing. You do know you need more than a few sentences to make a complete, compelling story, right? He wrote over and snagged the notebook back from me, tucking it away in his shoulder bag. I think he was a little more sensitive about his work than he let on at first.
It's all just scribbles for now. I need to get the ideas out of my head so they can germinate, is all. So I suppose that doesn't matter to you.
Oh, he's a bit upset now, isn't he? Hi, Constructy. Joshua goes, we could add a ChocIce box story topic on Discord. Oh, we could, but I don't think we should. Ash, when do they... Ash! Come on, Ash! We've only just started, man. Come on.
Ash.
No, it's not our neighbour's Ash,
Okay.
no. I don't think it's our neighbour's Ash, is it? We've got 2 Ashes. Right, okay.
Same. Well, if I may be so bold, what brought you to the club tonight? since you clearly aren't driven by a desire to be quietly observed, nor are you obviously looking to get drunk or dance, I'm curious as to what your motivation is.
Mostly, I guess, to keep myself occupied and distracted. Kobe, my brother, very much liked this place, but doesn't always want to go alone. I needed time away from my problems and he wanted a ride, a match made in, well, necessity.
Well then, where else might you have gone if you have the option, ignoring cost, location or any of that?
Now, if I had to ignore cost, location and all that shite, I would go somewhere quiet.
Yeah.
Because apparently somewhere in the world there's a room which is the quietest place on earth where you can actually hear your own heartbeat. It's that quiet.
Yeah.
Like if there's a fly in that room, it sounds like it's a freight train.
Really?
Yeah. I don't think I will go to somewhere that quiet. But yeah, somewhere quiet. I tend to be a little more restrained, so I probably would have gone somewhere a little quieter. A library, museum or something like that. Somewhere I can hear my own thoughts. My smile twitched at the edges of his mouth as he scribbled in his notebook. He tapped the eraser against the page before looking back up at me thoughtfully.
Feeling a bit out of your element too then. I can certainly understand that feeling, but it's always good to break out of your comfort zone.
He seemed to be rather thrilled with his, wherever that word is, pseudo integration. He looked back up from his notebook with excitement.
So being that we are in the club and you already expressed curiosity as to why I'm here, what do you think about this club?
Joshua goes, so I was looking at the recommendations comments for this game. Yeah, I don't recommend that, Josh. I don't recommend that whatsoever. Looking at the reviews on Steam for this game, I don't recommend it. And one said, my 7-year-old son plays this game and he improved his grammar a lot, but he doesn't let me see it. Oh, I wonder what grammar he improved on. One of those books going to get released.
Yeah.
Dancing, drinking, relaxing, socialising. Well, I'm not much of a dancer myself. I don't really drink that much myself, to be honest. Like I said, I don't drink. Relaxing. Well, since when is nightclubs relaxing?
Yeah.
Nightclubs not relaxing. Socialising. I would say socialising would be one. When I've been a mopey or just have too much time, I like to find other people to be around. Conversation, laughs and banter between friends really helps to perk me back up. He looked a little surprised, jotting down a few extra lines in his notebook before glancing back at me.
I suppose I should be flattered you've directed your attention to just me then. Extroverts, whatever that says, commonly don't enjoy engaging with me for extended periods of time.
Something just popped up there. I need to double check what's going on. Hang on. Go to Streamlabs. Why is that not showing? Oh, Streamlabs has done a weird thing. Okay, that makes sense.
So we've established where you want to be and why you want to be there. But the big question is, who do you want to be there with? What kind of person would you be looking for at this club?
I've got the feeling that this is a somewhat pointed question. I also get the feeling that there is something more going on here than simple research. He shot me a Cheshire cat grin and placed a hand on his chest in mock shock. Clearly he was enjoying this intimate game of 20 questions. Someone handsome, someone interesting, someone bold. You get to the point. And this one can make the game go two ways. Make it harder to get to the end, or make it easy to get to the end.
Yeah.
Alright, see you later, Josh. Take care, mate. Thanks for coming by. Should we just go with you?
Go for it.
Let's just go for it. Guns blazing. To be honest, I set about exploring the club at first, but you definitely caught my eye. There's a reason I'm here and not in the pool or down on the dance floor, and that's because you intrigued me. He shifted a whole new shade of red as I smiled from the stool next to him. Absently, he looked away to scribble down a note or two before looking back up and clearing his throat to hide his shy response.
Well, it's always nice to be noticed, though I'm not usually the type of person to stand out physically. I mean, ahem.
I wasn't sure what was more adorable, his attempt to cover up his embarrassment or the light shade of pink showing through those snowy white cheeks. Alright, one more question and then I really should find Kobe and figure out what he has planned for the rest of the night.
I suppose I have been crying pretty heavily. That said, you have been very interesting character study to say the least. It's rare I actually get to interact with someone.
Oh, I'd hope I was more than just an intellectual diversion. Is that not the case?
I didn't mean it like that. I mean, it's been interesting talking with you. I've been here for a couple of hours already, and you're the first person who stopped to talk that didn't want to take a drink order.
Oh. I smiled and leaned on the bar. He was awfully cute when he desperately tried to regain his composure. So, what's the last question? He hesitated, glancing down at his notebook for a second before scribbling something in the margins. As he looked back up, I could see his cheeks were still quite flushed.
I was heading to the library tomorrow to do some research for a story, and there was a reading I was thinking of going to. Could I convince you to come along?
That's just being an arsehole. I just go with sure, yeah?
Yeah?
Sure. I said sure, not I love to. Okay, what time?
Really? I mean, great. The reading is a little before noon, but I'll be there early. Let me give you my number so you can call and let me know when you get there.
He tore off the corner of a notebook page absently, leaving a snippet of poetry in the upper half, and passed it to me.
Thanks. It'll be nice to have someone else there. It's always a little awkward to go alone.
Sounds like a date then.
I suppose it is. I need to get going, but be sure to call me as soon as you're up. I'll make sure to save as a seat.
After gathering his things, he shot me another adorable smile and strolled off towards the door. I folded up the paper and slipped it into my pocket. And we just got an achievement. Nice. So now we're going to go to Kobe. Kobe, can we fuck off home now? Yeah. Can we just... Yeah, let's just go home. Yes. Let's go. Come on, Kobe, let's go. Alright, let's go to the phone. Go to contacts, and we should have Seth there. There we go, and let's call Seth. That young freelance writer seemed interesting. He said he'd be heading to the library today. Maybe I can still catch him. Ring.
Ring. Hello.
Hi, it's ChocIce from Amorous. You mentioned I should give you a call today, and since I just rolled out of bed, I figured now was a good time to say any.
ChocIce, oh right, the interviewee. I'm glad to hear you called back. I just whoop. Okay, I'm okay. I'm just on my way to the library now. It's a great day for a streologites.
A loud thud on the other end of the phone was followed by some muttering and grunting. Apparently I distracted him in the middle of something. Was this a bad time to go? It seems like you're having some difficulties there.
No, I just had a few bucks. I've been meaning to return before they became overdue, though sometimes I think the only reason the library stays open is because of the fees. I wind up paying.
I take it you're a fairly avid reader as well.
Definitely. One can't expand one's horizons. I'm just about to head inside. Do you want to drop by and meet me in the lobby?
Sure, let me just get reasonably decent and I'll pop right over. Oh, you never told me what the reading was. I hope we didn't miss it.
Reading? Oh, no. What time is it?
Glancing at the clock, I saw it was a little after 10. After I mentioned it to Seth, he seemed to calm down.
Phew, sorry about that. I get a little too deep into my own head sometimes. The reading is at noon in the community room. We've got plenty of time.
Good, well, I've got nothing planned this morning, so I'll just drop by since you'll already be there. We said our goodbyes as I tried not to flinch every time I had another book drop on the other end, and I hopped out of bed to get dressed. Despite not needing to rush, I did feel a little concerned about making him wait. I scooped up some clean clothes and got myself as close to presentable as possible. Oh, where's Kobe? Kobe was slumming around the kitchen, Blurry-eyed and nothing but his underwear, I was heading towards the door. And where are you off into, Rush? That makes sense, didn't it? No, that made no sense whatsoever. Just meeting someone, found an interesting guy at the club last night, and he invited me to an event. Ooh, first day hunt. Well, although I did do about 5 already. Don't get started, little bro. I heard everything that happened last night when you and your friends got back here. Okay, have fun, but I expect a full report. Fuck off. I promise we'll dish all about him later. Later's good. Right now I need a coffee and a shower. Kobe followed his beat back into the kitchen as I made my way out the front door. I certainly hadn't been in a public library in ages. Between work and Kobe's nightlife, I'd been too occupied to think about culture, probably why I was curious about this feline. Not that my friends were dim, far from it, but they were more passionate about surfing, tanning and chasing tail than discussing the latest popular literature. Last night was all about trying new things, so I figured this was another tick mark off my newest bucket list. He adorably nerdy look may have also had some influence on my choice. True to his word, Seth had found us a couple of seats close enough to enjoy the reader, but not an intimate view. Everyone else was getting settled in, so I managed to make it to my seat with a minimum of fuss. Seth beamed at me before turning his engine back to the front of the room. The dew had settled on the lawn just outside the front door, glistening in the last few rays of moonlight before the sun crested the horizon. I didn't know what was being read or who the author was. The pluck palette, wherever it was, just outside the room had a few bits of information on it, but nothing that rang a bell. Sid chuckled quietly, like due to my confused expression.
His name is Nick Kovac. He's one of my favourites for a light read.
Blood was the colour of the clouds, and the same unwashed crimson spilled in the rivets across the floor before him. It was a body emptied of life and life empty of meaning. Light read, what definition of the word light are you using?
It's generally fiction, murder mystery with a little thriller thrown in his spice. He's got a way with words that really captures the imagination.
The sounds of boots round the windows and shaking the shutters pulled him from his reverie. Too soon they would be upon him, and thereafter he would join the woman he discovered upon the paving stones. It's certainly hard to not form a mental image. You've read a few of his books.
All 14 in his current series. I found him midway through the second, so I got some insights I shouldn't have into the first. It ruined the mystique for me, and I haven't been able to bring myself to try reading them.
14. How many has he written in total?
About 28 or so. He's prolific, but that's why he does so well.
2 structural shots rung out across the barren fields, and the pang of the heat and pan radiated from his shoulder. He held secrets best left unspoken, and his pursuer meant to silence him forever. You said you were doing some research for your own story. How far along is that one? Even in the dim light, I could see a frown creasing the corners of his mouth. He sunk back into his chair for a moment before whispering his response.
Honestly, not as well as I had hoped. Writing is a very private vocation, but that makes it even harder when you stare into an empty room and a blank page. I admit I am here in part to hopefully absorb some of the ambient
Genius, I don't actually know.
In the hopes of inspiring myself to put pen to paper.
So just like the club, you're here trying to gain inspiration through Amorous.
Somehow you make it sound more desperate than I intended.
I don't mean to. Why don't I help? Sorry, it kinda is. Oh, okay. What would you pick?
No, I don't mean to. I don't know. What do you reckon?
We could try and help him.
Yeah.
Do you want to do that?
Yeah.
If you're looking for a sounding board or just some input, I'll be more than happy to help you out with that.
Really? I mean, really?
His eyes were wide with what I could assume was examined as I nodded. He was cute, intelligent, and interesting. Why not take some time to help him out? Maybe he even put me in the forward.
This is fantastic. Why don't we go grab some lunch after this, my treat? I'll give you some time to chat about Whisper.
Sounds good. I didn't have a chance to grab anything before I headed out the door. His grin was infectious and I couldn't help but smile before he turned back and settled into his seat. He was really excited as the prospect. Who knew it would be that easy to get a lunch out of him? Far worse than the iron bars and rain-sicking concrete of the cell was the knowledge that escape would be impossible. Beyond those walls, he was haunted. He was a haunted man, and only within their city embrace could he hope to live another day. Seth nudged me as an applaud rolled through the room. I guess I hadn't been paying as much attention as I thought. The two of us made our way through the crowds back out of the lobby. It was there that I noticed a small wooden table with a pile of books on it and the author's picture on a stand. Seth was busy chatting with some of the author attendees, so I found a place to sit down nearby. When he finally stepped away, he made a beeline for me.
Alright, there's a nice little coffee shop down the road. I've got a couple of books to grab before we go, so I can meet you there or you can wait for me.
Apparently Seth hadn't noticed the signing table or the author heading in that direction. He did mention enjoying his books. Meet him there, wait, or secretly get a book signed for Seth. Because Seth really likes this author.
Yeah.
So, but then if we wait, we miss the chance of getting the book signed.
That's true.
So we could get the book secretly signed, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Why not just wait and see you back here in a sec? Oh, sorry.
Excellent, I'll just be a moment.
Seth wandered off to the circulation desk while I moved it to the table. Thanks for coming, always nice to see a good turnout. You're welcome. First time I've been to a reading, I don't get out as much as I should. Then double thanks. It can be hard to compete with everyone else out there to do. What can I do for you? My friend is a big fan of yours. Could I get a signed copy of your latest book for him? Sure. It's part of the reason I'm here. Did you have something in mind for him, for me to write? What would you go for? Simple or something encouraging?
Encouraging? Is that nice?
Yeah, alright, encouraging. He's an inspiring author himself. Could you put in some words of encouragement? Of course, just tell him not to steal my audience. I have to eat too. He chuckled and jotted down a few inspirational words before signing his name with a flourishing. After I paid, I slid the book into my coat to keep it outside for a surprise. Thanks again for coming. I've got another reading later on in the month. I hope to see you and your friend there. I mentioned it to him. Thanks again.
But hopefully I didn't keep you waiting too long.
Not at all. Shall we get going? Seth nodded, and the two of us ducked out the front door and into the street. I had to juggle the book a little to keep it a secret, but Seth was so engrossed in talking about the reading, it wasn't too difficult. The coffee shop was a nice little place, cozy and inviting. We settled into a table after grabbing a coffee each and a scone. Is it scone or scone?
Scone?
I pronounce it as scone, but some people pronounce it as scone.
I think scone.
It's scone. It's scone. Scone. I don't know now. Is it scone or scone? I don't know. Put down in the chat in the comments, like, is it scone or scone? I've only had time to take the first bite where Seth produced a number of notebooks.
My writings are a little scattered. I tend to just grab what I have handy to jot my thoughts down.
What are you trying to write? I need to finish my coffee first. Let's go with what are you trying to write. Well, it seems to me the first thing to do would be to get organised. You've got a bunch of bits and pieces, but have you considered what you want to do with them?
I was thinking of maybe something involving the main, but I could also bring in an A.
That sounds like a no.
I just don't quite have my thoughts together. It's not simple as that, you know. There has to be some.
I could try to say it, so I say it as scone. Okay?
Scone or scone? I don't know.
It's either scone or stone. I would ask my Alexa, but
Scone.
I don't know.
Scone? I don't know.
I have no idea. Seth, no is okay. No doesn't mean there isn't something to work with. It just means you don't have a direction. What's that? Wasn't that the reason you wanted to do this?
You're right, sorry. It's easy to get lost in my head, I suppose.
Writing seems to be a really important thing for you. What got you started?
Reading mostly. I've always been a little bookish, and well, I enjoyed so much of my time in other people's worlds that I wanted to make some of my own.
I assume you aren't just a writer. Since you're still working on a book, what else do you do with your time?
I'm not terribly fond of talking about it, just because it's embarrassing.
Well, now you have to tell me.
I'm a trust fund kid. My parents have been fairly well off financially, and they set aside a sizable sum for me when I get older.
That would explain why you're able to live in a town. I was sort of brought along into the city with a remarriage when I was younger, and I've also been pretty fortunate in that regard.
Not to be too forward, but you don't seem terribly happy being idle.
My work had eaten up quite a bit of my free time, so when that obligation vanished, I just felt kind of lost. I'm glad my little brother got me out of the house at least.
He sounds like an equality interesting person in a different way, I suppose.
He's a character, but I love him. We went on for a bit longer, chatting about this and that until my coffee has gone, and we turned our attention to the pile of notes Seth had brought.
I've got an idea. You're right in that I spend a little too much time in my own head. Maybe what I need is some structure.
Sounds good. What do you have in mind then?
Since I can't seem to settle on something, why don't you tell me what I should write?
Really, with all your talk of muses and inspiration?
I think of it as an exercise. You'll give me a framework to build from, and I write the story. You'll give me a focus and keep me from wandering.
Alright, I suppose that makes some sense. Why me though?
Because then we will both have some investment in the final piece that will make it all the more likely you'll keep humouring me.
Fair enough. Where should we start?
At the beginning, what kind of genre should I write?
Sci-fi, fantasy, romance, or horror? I have no idea.
I don't know.
What would, if you was going to write a book with someone, what would you write?
Fantasy?
Mine would have been sci-fi, so we both confused. We both stuck. Because romance, that's just a bit too easy because of the game.
Yeah.
And that's probably the wrong answer. Let's do fantasy then, like you said.
Yeah.
Swords and sorcery have always been an enjoyable read for me. Knights, monsters, and magic all clashing in a far-off realm.
Will there be damsels in distress? Maybe some heroic methods involved? I can see some ideas. Okay, how do you see the main character? Is there some defining feature you like?
Heroic, deeply flawed, regular person, big, brutally involved. I said deeply flawed, like proper fucked up, like me and you.
Go for it.
Deeply flawed. I like complex, multi-faceted characters, people who mess up but have to keep going. Something about the struggle to just get by really resonates with me.
My favourite kind, nothing like being able to explore shortcomings through that lens. Having someone for whom there are only grey options, no black or white. I'm getting getting some great ideas here. I told you that you'd make an excellent muse.
Glad I can help. That said, I've got a question for you this time.
Oh, suddenly the interview becomes the interviewee. How the tables have turned.
And the turns have tabled. It's quite a plot twist. Anyway, I was wondering, what do you plan on doing with this story after you're done?
I hadn't really considered it. It's probably something I shouldn't even worry about until it's written.
I think you should keep it in mind, ponder it. I also think that you should keep those notebooks away. Let the story build itself. You'll be less inclined to overwhelm yourself.
Fair enough, but I reserve the right to call you the instant it's done. I need your eyes on it as soon as it's out of the printer.
It's a deal. Looking at the clock, I noticed we already spent quite a while chatting back and forth. Despite not having a set schedule of my own, I figure Seth may have other places to go. Well, it's afternoon already, and I don't want to keep you. I mean, if you're busy.
I should get to it. The fresher the ideas are in my head, the more likely I'll be able to actually keep with it.
He smiled up at me for a moment before we both clearing the table, standing up and tucking in our chairs.
ChocIce, thanks again for this. It's the most motivated I've been in quite a while, and it was good to spend time with you.
Same here, you're a very interesting person to be around, Seth. It's nice, a change of pace.
Only interesting.
Okay, this is gonna be weird. Let's just do it safe, just to be safe. No, I didn't mean. Because then Seth goes, only interesting. If we say no, it could at least say it's interesting in something else. But if I put I didn't mean, it could mean like, oh, I didn't mean it in a bad way.
Yeah.
Should we just go with no?
Yeah, go for it.
No, you're also extremely adorable and sweet when you aren't wrapped up in your own thoughts.
I'll still take the compliment, thanks.
You've got my number, right? Give me a call if you have any questions or if you'd like to chat.
I think so. You called me, right?
Let me just write it down so you don't lose it. I scribbled it down for it, and he put it in his pocket, smiling happily at the offer as he checked his notebook was secure one last time.
I will make ample, but hopefully not bothersome, use of your option, ChocIce. Thank you.
Oh, I almost forgot. I got this for you. I know you like that author, and I thought it would be a nice gift. When I handed him the novel, his eyes went wide. A smile spread across his face in an instant, and he looked back up at me, beaming.
You got me a signed copy. Didn't even realise who was doing signings. ChocIce, this is the best thing I've ever gotten.
Before I could react, he leaped up against me, wrapping his arms around me and pressing it lips to mine. We both began to blush up, and the moment of exhilaration began to fade. He quickly pulled away and glanced down towards the floor.
Sorry, I didn't mean.
Oh, this is where it's just gonna get fun. So let's just do another save. So shall we kiss him on the cheek, kiss him on the lips, or forgive him?
I'd say forgive or kiss him on the lips. What do you reckon?
I would say, because one of the game you're trying to get to the end game with him, and if you forgive him, it's going to make it a lot harder to get to the end.
Yeah, true.
And then kiss him on the lips, that's way too forward.
Yeah, kiss him on the cheek.
Yeah, let's go with that.
Yeah.
That's what I said, I'm glad you're so excited. I leaned forward and gave him a peck on the cheek, watching him flush even redder but keeping that smile wide.
Well, I need to get going, got to keep my story fresh.
We said our goodbyes, passing after a final lingering hug. As I watched him leave, I felt a sense of happiness I hadn't experienced in the past few weeks. Writing was a very important thing to him, and in the span of a cup of coffee and a cake, he wanted me to take part in that. More reading for me, yippee! I hadn't been that important of a person to anyone, but COVID recently Work had kept me busy, but without that, I began to realise that I wanted something more. Maybe this could be that something. Either way, I need to be ready with some juicy gossip when I got home, or Kobe would never stop pestering me. We got a new achievement. Yay. So, we're going to have to call him again, although Seth said he'd call us. I knew that focus on his writing was going to eat up Seth's time, but it seemed like forever since I last saw him. No phone calls, no texts, nothing. It was enough to make me question if he hadn't just been confused about the signals. Thought we had a connection. He was certainly interested in me, but this undermined the whole idea. Why else would he just leave me hanging? Maybe he really did just want some company. Kobe was there for me. We even went to the club a couple of nights to see if Seth had shown back up there. Sadly, there was no sign of him. Eventually, I've given up and just slumped on the couch, and I've lost myself in daytime television. I wasn't actually like this, but putting myself out there only to wind up with nothing, it was a hard thing to just bounce back from. I knew I eventually had to pick myself up back. But for now, I felt comfortable just to follow. Kobe was in the shower and I had just finished watching the 5th rerun in a row. When there was a knock at the front door, my instinct was to ignore it. I couldn't think of anyone who might be stopping by. A second night eventually got me off the couch and stumbled towards the door. I half expected it to be some local group doing fundraising. At this point, I was feeling low enough that wolfing down a box of cookies sounded like a good idea.
ChocIce. I'm so glad it was the right house.
Seth, what the heck are you doing here? How did you know where I live? Why didn't you call?
Well, the not calling was due to being a scatterbrain. When we parted ways, my head was buzzing with a million ideas. I had to get them out before they drove me crazy.
And one of those ideas involved losing my number?
Indirectly, yes. I tossed my pants in the wash before I went to bed, like I normally do. I'd forgotten your number was in my pocket, so I started the machine in the morning, and by the time I realised my mistake, all that remained was a soggy lump of paper.
Oh, okay. Well, why didn't you stop by the club or anything? I checked a couple of times and didn't see you.
I was cloistered
I don't know.
in my apartment, subsisting on delivery food and coffee. In what the hell?
In retrospect,
Yeah.
I'm the one that's dyslexic, darling.
It could have been something strange out of a novel I read. It was intense. It just kept pouring out of me. I never thought it was like that.
What came out of you? And you still haven't explained how you... Oh, fuck. I didn't mean to click. Is there a way to go back? No, there isn't. Shit.
That I could write a whole story about it was.
Right, my hands off the mouse. Me, I found him for you. Thanks, Kobe, you cunt. Kobe, what?
Kobe, thanks again. You're a lifesaver.
Last night, I overheard him at the bar asking about you. You'd mentioned a cute feline you've been seeing.
You called me cute.
Anyway, I mentioned I was your brother. We got to talking for a bit, and I told him how you're down in the dumps you were lately.
I felt terrible about that. I mean, I was a little flattered that you were pining for me.
Oh, sorry. My cheeks began to flush red as I stammered out of defence. I wasn't pinning, I was just sad, since I haven't heard from you in so long. I told him that he should drop by today and catch back up with you, maybe get you off the couch for a while.
And here I am, grovelling on bended knee. I can't tell you how amazing our first time together was. I wouldn't want you to think I'm just leave it all that.
First time doing what, huh? Both me and Seth blushed profusely as Kobe began to laugh. You two are way too easy to embarrass. I think I'm liking the idea of Seth and you. Kobe, how about you go make some coffee for all of us? Seth and I need to talk. Alright, I know when I'm no longer needed, just like me in my own house, at my mum's.
You were right about him, he's quite the character.
Yeah, you have to wait till you see one of the other dates. It's to do with Kobe.
Is it?
Yeah. He's my brother. We have always been there for each other. He does get a little nosy about my personal life sometimes. However,
It's good to have someone who cares about you.
you still haven't told me what kept you locked up by yourself for so long. It wasn't something bad, was it?
Bad, not in the least.
Without another word, he turned away and began digging through his book bag. A moment later, he handed me a pile of papers, all neatly collect whatever, and held together with a binder clip. My arms almost sagged at the weight.
There it is. All thanks to you and your brilliant inspirational techniques.
What is all this? I'm still not getting it.
It's a story we talked about. I sat down and wrote it beginning to end.
It's true it had been a while, but this was nearly a ream of paper I was holding. The amount of work and time he was suggesting would have been mind-boggling. Nevertheless, there it was, a title page and thousands of words that followed. Let's see. Wow, you must have been really inspired, or how did you do this?
I don't know.
Wolfguy Kuhn, Seth will always be my favourite in Amorous. Oh, that's nice. Yeah, Seth is like a quite nerdy character, but he must be good at writing books. So, I would think as a compliment, because that seems like an insult, how did you do this is a bit of an insult. It's like simple. He said he was going to go back, type up, print it off. So that's a bit of an insult on how he's done it. So, that's a compliment. Wow, I must have been really inspired. So, should we go that one?
That one, yeah.
When you suggested I give you an idea to write, I didn't expect it would be completely consume you.
I know, I've never been this driven before. Maybe it was your encouragement of your practicality. I just know that when I got home I was focused like I've never been before.
Honestly, I didn't know what to make of any of this. I had mostly thought it was just some playful game. Like that his interview, the pile of papers in my hand suggested otherwise. I
want you to read it, not this very second, of course. Go through the whole thing. And don't worry, no more radio silence from me. Kobe insisted on watching me program your number into my phone, and I won't be losing that anytime soon.
And it's a 60s phone in the washing machine.
It's true.
I've done that one.
That is true.
Why not now? Well, phew, that's quite a bit of work. That's a bit of an insult.
Why not now?
Yeah, why not now?
Yeah.
Why not now? It's not like I have a pressing need to keep watching daytime TV. Do you have any other items on your schedule for today?
Really, I mean, no. There's nothing important I need to do. I really didn't expect this, though. I thought I was the only crazy one in this relationship.
Oh, apparently we're together now. Far from my feline friend. Now let's head into the kitchen and get you some real food while we go over this. I was happy to catch up with Seth, even with Kobe listening too intensely. We had some pancakes, light conversation, and once Kobe had gotten a few pages of Seth's work away from the pile, he insisted we sit down and read the whole thing. It was outstanding. I'm having a stroke. R/stroke. Reddit thing. The indecisive tone was gone, and there was a coincidence to it, and that I hadn't seen it in the snippets he shared with me. I began to feel awkward for having such a profound effect in so little of time. Eventually, once the dishes were cleared, we got to chatting about more than about the writing. Wow, I butchered that sentence, didn't I?
Is it wise to invite me into your bedroom so soon?
Well, that's where my TV is, isn't it, bitch?
That's it.
Did you have some ulterior motives I wasn't aware of?
Well, no, I mean, none that I would act on, I mean...
Oh god. I could think there is something else you want to tell me.
It isn't all about the writing, don't get me wrong. You've been an amazing inspiration, but I wanted to know if there was something more.
No, as you're non-furry, this is the bad way to introduce you into the furry fandom.
Oh my god.
Okay? Something more?
Like, I mean, I'm attracted to you. You're attractive. There, I said.
Oh, thanks, Abby.
That's all
I can't say the
right.
same about you, though, you ugly bitch. I'm joking.
Thanks.
I'm joking. Fat bitch. Kim, yes, bitch.
You do that so well.
Ah, thanks, bitch. Hashtag fat bitch. Go on, read.
Wow, it feels good to get this off my chest.
Yeah, woo!
Woo!
I shouldn't have done that.
Don't die on me.
Oh, that's right. It'll give you the views dying on cam. And, oh god. And it's not too bad to hear either. I'm just baffled. Did you think I was only after you for your writing skills and inquisitive nature?
I suppose not. On some deeper level, I've just gotten my signals crossed before, and it's not important. It's more important that we're on the same page and that I give you a proper date next time.
Next time? You want to go on the date another time, you fucking bitch. How much money do you want out of me? Or, I look forward to it. Wow, my voice broke.
I don't know. I look forward to it. I don't know. What do you reckon?
This reminds me of my ex. When I said, I'll take you on another date, she goes, I can't, I look forward to it, and she would never leave me alone. Every 5 minutes, you still up for tomorrow, still up for tomorrow, so I was like, go away, leave me alone, trying to sleep. Yeah, I look forward to it, let's go for it.
Go for it.
Not that I don't enjoy our conversation, but it's nice to be white and dined as well. Something romantic and intimate would be great.
It's a date, or will be. I just need some time to plan. It's not particularly well reserved.
How drunk are you?
At this sort of thing.
We're both drunk. Fair enough, but don't leave me hanging like that again. I only can take so much before I have to hunt you down and force you to buy me some chocolates.
You say that like it's a bad thing.
I want chocolate now. And Iceland is shut. Bastard. Still, we don't need to wait to have a good time. Unemployment is still looming large over me, and you seem pretty free today. Is there something you would like to do?
This is pretty nice. No.
He looked so adorable with his cheeks worth flush. I leaned over to ruffle his ears. So you just want to stay cooped up in someone else's bedroom?
Not just someone's. Yours.
Right, let's go then, bitch.
Oh dear.
Why mine specifically? More ulterior motives? I'm flattered. I don't know what to go for.
I don't.
I'm just going to save it just in case it goes wrong. Yes, I'm sure. Not just someone sure specifically.
What do you reckon?
So basically, Seth wants to be in my bedroom specifically, but why do I want to ask him why my bedroom or other motives? I don't know.
I don't
So
know.
all my other relationships failed. I'm good at this game though.
I don't know.
Can't put it on flat. It's like thanks, badge. Can't just do that. Like, ooh, why am I specifically? Oh, you got other ideas? Thanks, bitch. That's what the three options are.
I don't know.
Inny, mini, money, mo. Catch a beep by the toe. If he screams, let him go. Inny, mini, money, mo. I'm not picking that one. Let's do this one. Middle one. Middle always wins.
Yeah.
If this is all about your plans to keep us in bed, should have known about that. I can lock the door so Chloe doesn't barge in.
What? No. I mean, not quite. But her. You're enjoying this, aren't you?
We picked the wrong choice. Fuck! A little bit, actually. Quite a bit. You know, I've never gone to see your place. I imagine it's quite nice. I want to go back now, lovely Tom. Shit.
It's serviceable.
Serviceable. I don't know.
Serviceable, but Spartan. I'm afraid I'm not terribly good at this domestic side of things.
What do you mean, domestic side of things? No time to decorate. Right, we're not picking that one. So I think that's into like giving hints of being BDSM shit.
Yeah.
So let's go with no time to decorate. Do you not like furniture, or is your glamorous life of watching simply eat up all your free time?
Well, the last few nights it has certainly eaten up my time, but no, it's just an area where I don't really expect the effort. A home can be very tranquilly.
I don't know.
Don't know. I suppose I'm not really attached to my apartment.
You moved often, didn't you? Sometimes I thought that way makes sense. Because hang on, he comes from like a rich side of his family and lives in the city, so I'm guessing he moves around a lot probably. Like his parents are always moving and trying to find the next big place to live. Do you know what rich people are like that? Oh, let's go live this place because of the lovely weather. Oh, it's now raining. Let's move to Spain or Italy.
Yeah.
Like what Chris does. Yeah, let's do that one. Your parents moved around quite a bit, didn't they? Seth got quiet a moment. His ears flattened against his head.
My father especially, he didn't do it out of malice or anything. He just went there where the jobs were. When you are in demand like he is, you never really settle down for very long.
Oh, we got it right then. As the two of us got to chatting, it made me realise just how little we really knew about each other. Seth was happy to share, and he brought out some things of my own that I hadn't thought about in a long time.
I know it sounds cliche.
Yeah.
But being the only child and having expectations piled on you can be hard in your own way. Some part of you thinks that I'll never be anything but a disappointing footnote for my parents.
Well, that's not a healthy line of thought. Parents can be more forgiving than you think. Mine trusts me to keep Kirby in line, but he also keeps me from staying sad for too long. They knew we were good. We were a good fit when we all started living together. Maybe you just haven't given yours enough time to come to terms with your choices.
Maybe so. I suppose if I'm not great at reading people, I may not have been good at reading them. Goodness knows, once college started, I all but vanished from their lives.
Oh, this is actually getting depressing now. Where's the more alcohol? Oh, okay. There's no one behind me. If I may, you seem to get lost in your own heads. You can't have experienced anything yet, so you can't expect to know everything either.
Well, before we get too deep into the depressive pit, I think we should change the subject.
Yeah, let's just... Fair enough. Did you give any more thoughts of getting your stuff published?
I thought you might have forgotten about that suggestion. No, I haven't really been looking into places to publish.
I need to sneeze one sec. Look at bright light. Oh, it don't work. Hang on. So it's there. I'm going to sneeze, but then it disappears. Well, why not? This is... No. I need to sneeze. This in particular is some of the best work. You need to at least put yourself out there and give it a try.
I wouldn't even know where to begin. This is the first substantial piece I've written since I graduated. I don't even know if it's any good.
Aren't there books about this? What about self-publishing? Well, think about it. All books are the same.
Yeah.
They always have a beginning, middle, and end. Most romantic things, like there's like some either someone's in poverty, like the woman or the guy's in poverty, and then there's some rich or some popular male or female. Something happens between them, or one of them dies, or something else happens back. Like all books are the same principle.
Yeah.
So we're not going to go. Let's go. What about self-publishing, which is probably the hardest thing to do?
Yeah.
If you're concerned about getting picked up, why not just self-publish? I hear it's super easy now.
It is, but it's also flooded with everyone else who wants to be a writer. I'll be fighting against hundreds, if not thousands, or other people without so much to make me stand out.
Believe me, your writing stands out. Kobe's the least bookish person. I know if he couldn't put it down.
Thanks, but even if it's good, it'll be buried in the sea of other books. It would help if someone with some visibility could boost it or plug it. which brings me back to square one.
I couldn't bear to see him giving up so soon after accomplishing so much. We've talked for a while longer, glancing at the manuscript and back to each other until I remembered. What about the author we saw? Nick? We could talk to him. He was mentioning that he had another reading sometime soon.
You've got to be kidding. I mean, he probably gets swarmed with fans wanting him to prove their stories. Why would he give me a time of day?
Because it's a start. Just like with writing, you've got to take a chance and put words down on a blank page. Worst he'll do is say no, and I'll buy another copy of his book so he doesn't reject us.
You're coming with me?
Of course, I got you inspired enough to write all that. The least I could do is be there to try and help you make something of it. His eyes went wide for a moment, his lips trembling cutely as he stared at me. In a moment, he was on top of me, hugging me tightly and burying his face in my neck. It took a moment, and the rather awkward rush of blood through my body before he slipped off me, seeming to realise that he particularly tackled one onto my bed.
Then let's do it. Come hell or high water. I'm going to see my name in print.
I smiled broadly. He seemed most in himself when he was aside, and I was growing to enjoy that about him more and more. We checked the library schedule and found out when the next reading was. If we left the house immediately, we could just make it. We said our goodbyes to Kobe, leaving him with a cup of coffee and a confused look before jumping in the car. We were both nervous. Seth spent the trip looking out of the window and then back to the pile of papers in his lap. I caught myself glancing over at him and now and again, hoping that I wasn't setting him up for failure. We made it to the library just at the tail end of the reading. Again, there was a table out front for signings, and after enough people had filtered out and away from the lobby, we walked up. Hi, thanks for coming. Hey, you made it. Glad to see I was convinced enough to get you to return. Seth stood there, quivering, blushing and completely unable to speak. Once the author's face shifted to a concerned look, I knew I had to do something. I didn't mean to bother you, so we will ask this guy about the book, or should we get Seth to ask about his own book to him?
Get Seth, what do you reckon?
Fucking throw Seth in the deep end. I nudged Seth forward and motioning him to start talking. It took a moment before he could find his voice.
Oh.
Yeah.
So, I wrote something.
The author raised an eyebrow before leaning back in his seat. That's good. I don't mean to be dismissive. I'm glad to see people write, and especially reading. But was there a reason to tell me this? Seth's voice squeaked for a moment as his eyes darted back at me. I gave him a confident smile and then motioned forward. After taking a breath, Seth thrust out his hands with the manuscript in them.
I was inspired to write this book and was told it's pretty good and we should come here and talk to you about it. I mean, I wanted some advice on the next steps I should take if I want to see this published.
The author sighed to himself for a moment before looking back up at Seth. I get hundreds of enthusiastic writers trying to ply me with buying copies of my book or giving me gifts to get me to read their work. There's a reason publishers have slush piles, you know. Speak up for Seth or convince Seth to speak up for himself.
Speak up? I don't know.
I think we should speak up for him,
Yeah.
to be honest, because he's been a bit of a cunt.
Yeah.
He's been definitely a bit of a cunt. He is not looking for a sure thing. He's already had me and another person read it and wanted some professional insight. That's all. Just flip through a couple of pages and tell him what you think. I stood firm, watching as the author's gaze dive between the two of us. You know, every Tom, Dick and Harry thinks they can write. Don't get me wrong, I've seen a few diamonds in the rough, but it's not my job. That's what publishers are for. Seth looked crestfallen, his eyes lowered to the floor as I watched the pages sag in his hands. Undeterred, I grabbed the first few. Maybe not, but it's my job to see that you look this over. He poured his heart into this, and I know that. Please, a few minutes of your time. Don't make me start reading it and follow you until I'm done. Now, that's something I would do. I literally would. He took a moment, glanced between me and Seth before letting out a sigh and turning to face Seth. Alright, first 3 pages. My agent would kill me if she knew what I was doing here, but it's obvious you've already got on devoted fan, and that's the start.
Of course.
Seth's eyes went wide as the authors took the pages offered and began to browse. I patted him gently on the shoulder and went to sit down, letting my body calm down from the high. As I glanced back over, the two of them were having a spirited conversation. The author seemed particularly animated. He was smiling, and a wave of relief rolled over me. Alright, I'll give you a call soon. He had zoned out for most of the conversation. I had zoned out for most of the conversation, but perked back up when Seth came over, nearly vibrating with joy.
He liked it. He actually liked it. He said it was rough, which I expected being the first draft, but he was going to take the first chapter to his agent.
See, it's worth it to take a risk every now and again.
You're more than just a muse. You're like my guardian angel.
Ah.
It's nice.
Flattery will get you nowhere, bitch. Ah, no, I'm not. Now, what one shall we go for? I'm just going to do another save, just to be safe. We fucked up on one question already. I'm thinking... Oh no. Me personally would go for... Oh no, I'm not.
Yeah? Go for that then.
Yeah, alright. Oh come on, once I saw someone on like getting so close to their dream, I had to do something. I'd like to think you would have done the same. He smiled broadly and leaned up to kiss me on the cheek.
You are far too modest, ChocIce. Literally, none of this would have been possible without you, which is why we must go celebrate.
I know just the place. It was still too early to go to the club, so we decided to swing back to my place. Seth was animated like I've never seen before. His head was flooded with possibilities, hopes and dreams about what this could mean. I was glad to see him happy and did enjoy some basking in his adulation, but I also remember what Nick had said about the hours the travel selling himself at stores. What if his dream meant the end of this with us? Seth Gibson didn't stop even after we walked through the door. The instant he saw Kobe, he scooped him up in a hug. I think it was the first time I ever saw my little brother turn that purple.
My goodness, I don't think I've ever felt this energized.
I'm glad to hear it. We can hang out here for a while and then all 3 of us can hit the club. We can have a couple drinks, dance a little. Maybe pick up a guy. That's all you, bro.
That sounds fantastic. Look at me. I've never danced before in my life. And I'm giddy at the thought of making an ass of myself.
Aha, that's the spirit, Seth.
Maybe I should sit down for a moment. My head's still reeling from all this.
We've got plenty of time. Why don't you go lie down for a bit? I've got a few things to do around the house. I'll check in a few minutes.
Thank you again, ChocIce. You are the most gracious host.
He's a cutie, ChocIce, and a good hugger. Hey now, hands off. I saw him first. I also may have helped launch his dream career. He's all yours. It's pretty clear he's really into you. I ChocIce, I slid out of my coat. There were still a few things to do if we're going out tonight. I wondered if I should get to them or check up on Seth. Do the chores or check on Seth?
No.
I would say check on Seth, to be honest. Yeah. Gilly Seth had estimated his stamina. He was out cold and snoring softly. I would say let him sleep, to be honest. Like, Son's really worn out, I just let him sleep.
Yeah, do that.
Multiple days on the road rides, seemingly with a little sleep, he had clearly been tough on him. I know he wanted to celebrate, but maybe what he really needs is rest. I must have dozed off for a second myself because my eyes flickered open. Seth was stretched and yawning as he got back to his feet.
Oh. Oof, what happened?
You fell asleep about 5 hours ago in Code's bedroom nest, which makes you one of the few people to just sleep in it besides him.
I guess I was more exhausted than I thought. Sorry I wasn't more fun tonight.
That's right, we had an exciting day. That and I much prefer sleeping in the same room as you, not hearing from you.
ChocIce.
As I sat on the edge of my bed, Seth padded softly over to me. Dropping his arms around me, he slid smoothly into my lap and pressed his lips firmly but gently against my own. We held each other in that moment, cloaked in darkness, and on such a silent night, just kept keep close and safe in each other's arms. When the kiss finally broke, reluctantly on both our ends, Seth smiled down at me and rested his head on my shoulder for a moment before slowly sliding back out of my lap.
That's my way of saying thank you. Thank you for humouring me, pushing me, and most of all being willing to put up with me. My vanishing, not many people would be willing to take someone back after that.
I'm not most people, Seth. If that kiss was any indication, you're certainly worth waiting for.
You are such a flatterer. Unfortunately, I don't think I'm up for much more tonight. That full body giddy high has faded, and my body is threatening to rebel against my currently vertical position.
If he's feeling like he just wants to go back to his and just want to sleep.
Let me take you home?
Yeah, take him home because then he can sleep.
Yeah.
Because imagine the parents coming home right now.
Yeah.
It's like, who's this in your room? But right. Are you sure? Yeah. Let me drive you home, man. I wouldn't want you to pass out on the way and get in an accident.
It's alright, it's not that far, and the traffic will be light. Besides, our place is an absolute pigsty right now, and couldn't bear to have you see that. I have a lukewarm coffee in the car.
Only if you are absolutely sure.
I am. Fair warning though, keep your schedule clear. I intend to make up for these half-hearted dates with something spectacular.
I look forward to it. You don't have to. Let's just do another save. I haven't saved this much at all. What would you go with?
I look forward to it. I don't know.
Yeah, let's go with it. I look forward to it. I'll come in to see what you might have planned. Just make sure to pull out all the stops.
I assure you, no single stop will remain uncalled my entire apartment.
He gathered his feelings together and after another peck on the cheek goodbye, made his way out the door. Doubt still lingering about Seth's book, I brought us together for a moment, but I couldn't help worry it might also break us apart. Then again, that's what dating is all about. It seems being willing to put yourself out there and take a chance, then you can make a connection. It's not like I was seeing him for free lunches and attention. This was clearly important to him. And we've got another achievement. Right, bring out the phone. And call him again. And I think this is the last time.
Is this it then?
I think we've got a bit more. Our actually meetings were sadly short and very business oriented. Seth wouldn't let me come over until he had, in his words, cleansed the apartment from ceiling to floor at least twice. It's about my instance that not everything needed to be perfect. There was no sweating him. That said, he kept to his promise and called me often. When we weren't at coffee talking about his work on the story he was drafting. Finally the day arrived. Seth greeted me at the coffee shop with a smile that just wouldn't quit. You're done.
Alright, I believe my
Hello.
domicile is once again right enough with the world's accepted guest. I know you've been patient with me with that, ChocIce, thank you. I wanted everything to be absolutely perfect.
Seth, you didn't have to go overboard with this. I'm not going to judge you on the cleanliness of your apartment. I mean, you've been to my house, need I say more?
Can't I just go a little overboard? I mean, you're helping me with my writing. I've been more prolific recently than I've been in years.
Only thing that had something to do with that, still, I'm more than happy to come over should I bring anything.
I'll leave that completely up to you. I should have everything covered, but I'm certainly not adverse to your personal touch.
Alright, and I'll give you it some thought. Where we're going over another story today, your bag doesn't seem to be bulging with the notebooks as per usual.
No, not today. I've been a little too busy doing some other last minute things before tonight. I wanted to make sure that everything was just right. And well, I forgot to write anything recently.
I'll say go. Oh.
Yeah?
I was hoping to see what you would come up with next. I particularly like the last bit of short fiction you did.
Thanks. I was trying something new, which with the narration approach, and I'm glad to hear you liked it. But I've also been talking your ear off about writing lately. How are things with you?
Oh well. Recent free time has been a little draining. Not much work back on job yet. It's disappointing, but I'm trying to keep my spirits up.
I noticed you were a little down in the dumps and distracted. I'm sorry to hear about your issues. You know you can always come to me.
I get by. Chloe's been asking if you're going to stop by again. He seems to like you quite a bit.
I like you too, even when it gets a little flirty. I can see why he's a big part of your life.
There has been one thing you haven't talked about. Did Nick's agent ever get back in touch with you?
Not yet. These things do take time, and I know there's no way to rush it. It's just that the waiting is agony.
I'll do my best to distract you from that as much as possible tonight. Then, should I come in my suit and tie?
Black tie is completely optional, though. Imagining you in formal wear is a very pleasing image.
Flatterer, you should see me out. No, let's not put that. Let's not do that. Let's do flatterer. Flasher would get you almost everywhere with me. More flatterer would get you the rest of the way.
I'm a writer. I can flatter you in 5 different ways and with excessive alteration.
I have no idea. No, stop. I'm like putting in your hands already. Both I swiftly broke down into giggles after a moment, and another sip of coffee. I composed myself. I must say, you're certainly overselling the date here. I feel as though I'm going to be completely unprepared for what you have in store.
I wouldn't say completely, but I do hope to inspire some.
Is there anything I should bring, anything I should do to prepare myself for this experience?
Being that this is the first real date we've had, at least in my humble opinion, I've got to great lengths to make it self-suffocant. All I require is attendance at 6 at the place.
Which may I point out, you still haven't told me the address or location of.
Oh right, I suppose I got a little ahead of myself there.
He fished through his bag for a moment and produced a slip of paper, quickly scribbled down his information.
Now, don't follow in my footsteps and throw this in the wash. If you're late, I'll call to check in, so keep your phone on.
Yes, sir. If we don't have anything writing, then do you want to grab some lunch or something?
No dating until tonight. I don't want to spoil it.
Oh. It's just lunch. We can still chat about non-romantic things like the weather or the current state of sports ball. Besides, you can't have too much dating and then not want it anymore. At least I hope you can't.
I know I'm being a little silly, but you've done so much for me, intentionally or not.
Oh fuck! My finger does that all the time. It twitches.
Does it?
Yeah, I don't know why. Why does my finger twitch? Stop. Right, just don't get your expressions right. We're both just people after all. Yeah. He smiled at me, taking my hand in his for a moment. It was nice just to be together in one place without obligations. that was what worried me most about tonight. What he might be expecting. I never considered how dangerous it might be dating a guy who literally got most of his ideas from reading romantic novels.
I promise, it's all well in hand and a comfortable level pose.
He glanced up at the clock over at the counter and his smile shifted suddenly to a look of concern.
Is that the time? Sorry, ChocIce, I need to run. Just last few things I need to finish before our date. Now you've got this time and address.
I love Seth's eye colour and he's so cute. Kalon, yeah. His eye colour is actually quite nice. Like, it's like a cyanish blue. I nodded, patting the pocket where I had stowed both.
Good, now I expect you there promptly. I've got plans that are very time specific.
Whatever.
Yeah, you know.
I'll be at your door at 6 on the dot, probably with bells on. Oh god.
Stick with the fancy clothes unless you're only wearing the bells.
Oh, okay. He got a bit of a blush out of me, both from his comment and the soft peck on the cheek he gave me before he stood up and placed a 10 on the table.
Coffee's on me today. I'll see you tonight.
I sipped slowly at my coffee, nursing it and the growing knot I felt in my belly. My relationship with Seth so far had been on the strange encounter after another. I could only imagine what he had planned for tonight. Oh no. And I know what it means by growing knot he felt in his belly. I know what it means by that, but you don't, which is good. Still, I wasn't about to pass up the chance to find out. Not when it meant finding out more about this adorable eccentric feline. Okay, of course, without the couture session, most of my afternoon was empty. Kobe was out with some friends and I had the house to myself. I could only putt around for so long before I found myself staring at the closet and wondering what I should wear. Look for something fancy or something comfortable but smart. What do you want to go with?
I don't know. Fancy? I don't know. What do you reckon?
You're cool.
Fancy?
Alright, let's go with something fancy. It has started as a joke, but once I spied my suit hanging in the far corner of the closet, I began to reconsider. After all, if Seth was going all out, why shouldn't I? While it wasn't a perfect fit, I changed a bit since I last wore it. I still look quite nice on me. The smooth, tailored lines really flattered my form. After I'd gotten myself cleaned up, dressed and looking my best, my thoughts drifted back to the day. Seth said I didn't have to bring anything, but maybe I should anyway. Bring wine, bring flowers, or skip it.
Wine.
Alright, let's bring alcohol. A nice bottle of wine would probably make for a good date, yeah. I could swing by the store on the way to his place and pick up something. Of course, he hadn't told me what was on the menu for tonight, I just had to wing it. Once I got myself together and made my decision, I looked down at the clock and it was getting awfully close to 6 and I haven't left yet. I grabbed my keys, locked the house and up to get to my car. Right, once I got myself together, I made my decision. I looked down at the clock, it was getting awfully close to 6 and I haven't left yet. I grabbed my keys, I already did that. So, shall we stop for wine? Because it's getting really close to 6.
Yeah.
So, do you want to stop for wine or just go straight there?
I don't know.
Let's go and get pissed, shall we?
Yeah, go for it.
Yeah, let's go stop for wine. I wandered the parking space at the store and darted in through the door and straight to the wine section. I was overwhelmed by their choices and without knowing what I would be served with, I was at a loss. Fortunately, a friend helped me out and suggested a dessert wine to finish off the day. I fainted and grabbed a bottle of light, sweet wine and rushed off to the register. By the time I made it back to the car, I realised I was going to be running a little late. Hopefully the gift would have made up for my tardiness. We're almost near the end of this. Almost near the end.
That's good.
You get bored then?
Yeah.
Bitch. I made my way through the lobby and up where the front elevator. Apparently that Seth hasn't been kidding about me being a trust fund kid. The apartment building itself was richer than my home. Once I had gotten to his door, after checking the note twice, I knocked. Hello?
Yeah.
Hello?
Just a minute.
I heard some scrambling. A few muttered weathers and foreign.
Shut up! Alexa!
What's it doing?
I don't know what my Alexa was doing. I had. I'm just gonna put that out. Ow. Sure go.
Oh shit.
Fuck no.
I'm pleasantly surprised to see I was right. Visa the suit. Very dapper and flattering. You should wear it more often.
Oh god.
I seem to recall something about saying you should be prompt.
It was for a good cause, I promise.
Well, see how true that statement is. Well, what do you think of this place?
Once aside, it was clear that Seth wasn't keen about his apartment, despite the rather posh interior of the building. His own apartment was very sparsely furnished. Aside from a few pictures and bric-a-brac, the living room held only a couch, a coffee table, and a TV on a stand. It's nice, simple, clean. Seth smiled at me before setting down a steaming pot on the small dining room table.
Devoid of any sense that a person actually lives here.
Everyone's got their own taste. Speaking of which, where did you learn how to cook? It smells delicious.
Thanks. I cannot take all the credit, however, most of it goes to the cooking channel and the cookbook I snagged from the library. Of course, I wasn't sure that you might like to eat, so I may have gone a little overboard in terms of available dishes.
That's right. It's why they invented reusable containers and microwaves. I'm impressed though. You said you hadn't really ever cooked. He chuckled and took my hand, leading me to the spread laid out on the table. Again, he wasn't kidding. There was half a dozen dishes crammed into a small space. Rolls were neatly nested in the basket, and 3 different types of spreads, from savoury to sweet, laid out on the kitchen counter. You made all this just for us two?
Turns out, being rather new to cooking, I wasn't aware of portion size. I mean, I thought it was quite a bit of food when I got the ingredients, but I guess I assumed it would condense or reduce whatever it is that chefs do to food.
Man, I could take leftovers and you'd still be set for a while.
Be sure to save room for dessert. I baked 3 dozen cookies.
My eyes went wide and Seth smiled awkwardly. I mean, not that I'm classical trained chef myself, but I couldn't even finish the thought of me before I burst out laughing. Next time you should pay close attention to the recipe. It'll probably save you some money on your grocery bills. Oh, that reminds me. I stood up and walked over to the front door, picking up the bag with the wine that I had left out there. Seth didn't have a cooler or bucket, so I made do with a few scoops of ice in a narrow, deep mixing bowl. I set the wine gently into the kitchen on the kitchen counter near the table. I fancied 8 desserts, I fancied drink. I picked up some wine on the way. I didn't know what you were making, but clearly it would have mattered. He glanced over the label and smiled.
It's probably too nice of a wine to drink with cookies, but the thought is appreciated all the same. That said, you've got remarkable taste in wines.
I do? Question mark? Of course I do. I'm just gonna put I do. I do, I mean, sure, but really the wine store at the store was a big help.
Well, he's got good taste and you've still got good instincts. Maybe your next job should be a...
I don't even know what that word is. Sommelier? Fuck knows. I'm not sure I'm ready to pursue this as a vocation. At least not yet.
Well, we'll see how well it pairs with the cookies once they're all done cooling. No? That said, we should eat before too much of the food gets cold.
The two of us dug in, filling up plates and heading back to the coffee table to eat. The next exciting and relaxing. It was exciting and relaxing, a host of emotions all at the same time. It was easy to forget my anxieties and just lose myself in the moment. Seth was equally chatty, discussing how many attempts into inspiring himself, the seemingly crazy lengths he'd gone in the hopes of broadening his horizons.
I'm embarrassed to say I actually drank half the bottle. The revolting taste still haunts me even after 12 full cups of mouthwash and a handful of mints. I'm still unable to go anywhere near fresh seafood.
Ooh. Soon after dinner was set aside, along with enough leftovers to feed an army. He insisted I take some home, not only because he didn't have the space, but he wanted to thank Kobe again. We sat on the couch, relaxing and nibbling on a cookie every now and again. It was then that I noticed the large curtain across from us, closed but already a rudely hue from the sunset. Seth smiled as he noticed my interest, getting up and pulling gently the cord. The wispy curtains parted, and in a moment I saw the whole city spread out before me. Windows glistening in golds and reds, and I could even see my own house far in the distance, just above the horizon. Seth stepped next to me, touching my paw gently to the glass. Oh, we got a person. Hello, fellow furries. My persona is ChocIce. Oh wow, that's nice. That's an American thing, Chuck E. Cheese, isn't it? Chuck E. Cheese is American. I only remember it because of Family Guy.
It's really why I picked this place to move after college. The rent was absurd and the building was, to me, gaudy and pretentious. But when I was in the empty room...
Do you want more alcohol after this?
Yeah.
Okay.
I couldn't make it to the regular viewing and convinced the realtor to give me one later that day. I was tired, grumpy from seeing my grades on the final. Once I looked out the window, I saw the harvest moon hanging there, almost transparent in the twilight. The clouds were a deep purple and a few flecks of red spread across them.
More reading. Sorry, darling.
That clinched the deal. I signed the lease that second. This view was something I had been looking for, maybe a piece in a bigger puzzle. I found it though, and it's been a source of comfort even in the worst of it.
Come on, more reading for you, please. Oh. Hearing how much he meant, what kind of an impact it had on him, all I could think of was how empty this place would have been if he left. When he left. My son drew a curious look from him. Gently he touched my shoulder and I snapped back to the moment.
What's wrong? You aren't enjoying the view?
It's not the view, it's nothing. I'm just going to do a save. I'm going to go, it's not the view.
Yeah.
Let's go with that. Have you thought about what will happen next? You could get a publishing contract, you could see your name in print, but think about how much you have to travel, how little you actually be around.
I know, I've been trying to forget about it. It's likely one of the reasons I wound up cooking for 2000s instead of 2. I'm scared, ChocIce, I don't want to go through this again.
What do you mean, again? This isn't your first book? He shook his head and smiled.
I need to show you something. I'll be right back.
Alright, see you in a bit. He set the way, leaving me there in the fading sunlight, gazing out over the sea of buildings. I wanted us to stay in that moment, stay right here until there was nothing else. It was selfish, maybe even petty, but I wanted it more than anything else right then. He stepped out of the bedroom and back to my side, touching my shoulder. He drew my attention to what was in his paw. It was a sun-bleached, tattered notebook, one I had never seen before. He held it out to me.
Go ahead, read it. It's embarrassing, but it's something I need to share.
Confused, I opened it. Mostly it was pages of rough doodles, a few snippets of bad poetry and some notes on classes. A few dates I saw placed it properly in his high school years. However, one thing stood out. It was a short, clumsy but innocent story of a young man who admired a fellow student in awkwardly beautiful prose. It spoke of the distance, the ache and the loathing that he could not approach the person he desired. It ended on a silly, sappy note, the focus of his affections thrown in the notebook and falling equally in love. A short note followed, through the name of its intended reader was scratched out in black ink. It read, I can't say this with my voice, so I used my words. I love you. I closed the notebook and looked up at Seth.
Oh shit.
Fucking hell, wake up.
It was my first story. He was the first person to inspire me enough to try to write. Down the road, I may remember it at some fleeting high school crush, but the wound still aches sometimes.
Oh.
Yeah.
You never showed it to him?
No, I did. What little confidence I had propelled my hand forward. While we were in the library, he read it, page after page, in complete silence. When he was done and looked back into the experienced eye, he said nothing.
Oh.
He simply laid the notebook on the table in front of me, got out of his chair, and left the room. I didn't see him the next day or the day after. When I finally asked someone, they told me his parents had moved and he'd gone with them.
Oh, sad.
2 years, I assume it was me. That was the reason he left. Part of me still thinks that, and all of me thought I would never recover. The folly on you and the power of infatuation. Maybe you were more right than you thought. Maybe my experience would be better spent on a romance novel.
So we picked the wrong choice at the beginning. Whoops. I wanted to say something, anything to turn the conversation away from this topic. I opened my mouth to speak, but halted when I saw Seth's lips spread in a wide smile.
What I want to say that I'm saying as awkwardly as I did in that notebook is that I care about you, intentionally or not. You drew me back out of that haze of loss and regret.
Osana Lima Santos, I hope I pronounced your name right. They go, hi, I'm Brazilian, so I've got Brazilian viewers. So I'm getting around the globe. I am on my channel. Yay.
Good, isn't it?
You're something to read, darling.
You were enough to draw a whole book out of me. You're the reason I'm here, that I even got here in the first place, and I'm not going to let you go. Not like I did the last time. I had this chance.
He stepped forward and slid his paws into my hands, pressing himself close, and he kissed my cheek softly.
So let's forget about it for the moment. Let's just enjoy this for a few more minutes before you're practically, and my anxiety brings it back up.
Oh, okay. What would you choose?
It's fine. What should we do?
I think we should pick alright instead. Like, it's not going away, because that's just gonna. Oh, I don't know. Let me just save. Let's just do alright. Alright, for you, I can try. I can't swear I won't think about it, but I will try to stay here. Lovely.
That's all I need right now. It's been too perfect of leaving to let it go soon. Besides, I seem to remember our celebrations requiring more than just dinner. I promised dancing too.
Releasing my hand for the moment, his paw tapped a button just below the TV stand. A moment or two later, after a hiss and a whir, a soft, simple melody began to play over his hidden speakers. His paw slid back into my hand and squeezed softly as he drew close to me and began to sway in a slow, measured time.
It's not the same music as the club, but at least we can talk over this.
I smoothed his paw back softly, drawing him close as the two of us began to glide across the soft carpeted floor. His eyes remained locked on mine, glimmering in the dimming sunlight as all but the dance faded from my mind. It didn't make it any easier holding him close to me, feeling his silken fur against my skin. I didn't want to lose this either, but could I in good conscience be so selfish? Seth lowered his head, pressing his cheek against my chest and purring softly, almost humming with the music. I couldn't help but smile in return. Wow. I wasn't quite sure when the music stopped. Our bodies still pressed close, but something stirred us enough from that embrace. I glanced at the clock and sighed softly.
Please don't leave.
Wow. Can't believe you're almost getting there. You're almost getting there. Wow. Alright, that's enough. Stop. Or you're gonna get a spanking. Stop. I don't want to. I hope you know that by now. But dinner's not over. It's nearly dark.
Then stay here for the night. Stay with me. You're beautiful, ChocIce.
Oh.
Intoxicating and amazing, and 100 other words. I know, but just fall short on my tongue.
It's not fair to use your wittly wheels on me, you know.
You know what I say. In this moment, in this perfect moment, I say, fuck. What's fair? I say, I want you, ChocIce. Do you want me to?
The words caught in my throat, my body tensing as he lifted his lips upward and pressed them firmly against my own. His paws released my hands, wrapping around my waist and folding one over the other at the small of my back. It had been too long since I felt this. Actually, according to my YouTube channel, only 2 weeks ago with another one.
Right.
So, the arcing need of another. The passionate embrace, my hands came to rest on his shoulder, cupping them and pulling his body even tighter against my own. A gasp escaped his lips, swallowed eagerly by my tongue before it could escape. It was as if a dam had burst, my knees overwhelming my senses. It was no longer about loss, about the moment slipping away. It was about us together and always exploring each other. Oh shit.
Oh, ChocIce.
Oh my, Gertrude.
I need you, ChocIce. Show me how much you need me to. Please.
Gotta keep this PG-13. Please be, yeah, I've got it.
Is this it now? Yeah.
Got a tiny bit more reading after, but it's just me that has to read properly.
Okay.
And we're almost done. So, anyway guys, we have done this part. We've completed the day, finally. And now, just a bit more reading and the stream will be over. So you can stick around for a little bit longer, that'd be wonderful. I dreamed vividly that night of Seth beneath me and the warmth and softness of his fur. I saw him standing smiling, his glazed peach on his muzzle and notebook in hand. I saw him walk away from me, my hand outstretched as with each step he grew dimmer, fuzzier until I could no longer see him. I remember sobbing softly and then a light. I woke up in his bed, covered tucked gently around me, and in the sounds of a shower in the distance, the sunlight streamed in through the window, making me blink and reflect until my eyes could adjust. The dream still lingering in my mind, my eyes watering. I got out of bed, making my way into the living room.
Oh, is this me?
Yes, yeah, come on.
Good morning. I admit it wasn't
Unorthodox.
an orthodox way to keep you here for the night, but I have no regrets. I hope you don't either.
Let's go flirt. Fuck it. Only one. There wasn't that we weren't able to continue doing what we did last night through this morning.
Some of us are we're only mere mortals, you know.
I laughed for a moment, stopping only as I watched Seth's expression fall, his glaze lingering at something beyond my shoulder. As I turned to look, I also drew quiet. The tiny white box attached to his end table near the door, gave off a steady red blink at regular intervals. It meant he had a message, and the both of us knew what that could be. Pretend.
I saw the call that I did this morning. It was from Donna, Nick's agent.
Shouldn't you listen to it? I mean, you've come so far, and I don't understand. It's one of the words that I didn't want to hear.
I don't know if I can. It can only mean change and upheaval. I don't mean if I'm ready for that particular part of my life.
Let's urge him on.
Go.
That's always going to be scary and full of risk. I took one getting to know you, spending time with you, and making love to you last night. Still, we can't move on if we aren't able to take risks.
It's not like continuing to hide from it will change the outcome. It's not a scroldinger brand answering machine.
He stood over the machine for a long moment, staring down at the pulsing light. I stood, walking behind him and placing my hand on his shoulder. He smiled back at me for a moment before his finger touched the button. Hi there, Seth. This is someone from Independence Library Agency. Nick passed on a section of your work to me and I was calling to discuss it with you. We both held our breath. My throat was dry and I waited to what seemed to be an eternity for the woman's voice to continue. It's surprisingly good, particularly for an early draft. Don't get me wrong, it needs an editor, but I think that's something we can do for you. Please come by the office sometime today before 1. I let my receptionist know to expect you. If you can't make it, call me back and we'll reschedule.
We did it. We actually did it.
No, you did it. You're the writer. Seth turned and faced me, a smile still prominent on his face.
No, I mean we. You're in this too, remember?
I chuckled to myself and glanced over at the clock. It was just a little past 11. Then I guess this half of we should get in the shower. No good showering up to our new agency naked and deceived.
That's the spirit. I'm afraid your suit was a casualty of our reaction last night. There isn't time to run into the cleaners.
That's right, I'm sure we can scrounge up something. The feeling of warm water eased my aching muscles. I did a little to ensure the knot in my stomach though. My current unemployment position might make this easier at the start, but I couldn't rely on Seth alone. What would I be doing while he was rushing around? I couldn't expect him to carry me. I took a deep breath and let these thoughts wash way down the drain. There would be a time for specifics later. For now, I was trying to help Seth achieve his dream. That much was enough for now. Clean dressed and together, we stood at the door. It seemed somehow more imposing as we made to leave the inviting warmth of Seth's bed. I felt his paw seek out of my hand, twinning his fingers through my own as he squeezed it softly.
Once we walk through the door, everything around us may change, but I promise this right here won't.
My hand clutched his tightly. I know because I refuse to lose you either.
Then all that's left is to open the door.
Oh shit. My finger spazzed again. Stop, finger, stop it. Bad. I chugged out Seth's ear, flattened against his head with my free hand. I turned the knob and pulled the door open wide.
Ah, yay!
Yeah, we almost finished. I think we've got a few more bits of text and we're done. Well, when I say me, basically. We didn't talk much on the way there, letting the warm air rushing over us and the feeling of our hands together speaking for us. It felt like I had come so far in such a short time. And while I wasn't sure what the future might hold, I knew we had someone there regardless. And it's done.
Yay!
So thanks for watching the stream, guys. This has been Amorous Date with Seth, a full day playthrough stream at 6. And I think I've got another 3 more to do. I'm not sure if Abby would want to join me on those ones.
No, I'm
what
good.
do you mean, no? Come on, you had fun. I'm ill, you're fine, I'm dying, I don't know. But yeah, I'd like to thank you very much for watching, guys. And basically, what one is it? I think it's this one. So thank you so much for watching, and I shall see you around. I am ill. I will try and get my content up again and my YouTube stuff and everything. But yeah, thanks for watching, guys. And yeah, subscribe, all that good stuff. And I'll see you when I see you. Alright, goodbye, guys. Love you all. Bye.